In the dark, quiet town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, a strange figure appeared, a tall, winged creature with glowing red eyes. People started whispering, afraid, confused, terrified, and soon an urban legend was born. The Mothman. No one knew where it came from. Some said it was a warning. Others believed it was a curse, but everyone agreed on one thing. Once you see the Mothman, something terrible follows. This creature was first seen in the late 1960s, and since then, people from around the world claim they've seen it, standing on roads, flying across skies, watching in silence. Is it real? Or just a story? Let's go back to one of the most chilling encounters ever told. It was a cold November night in 1966. Two young couples, Roger and Linda, and their friends Steve and Mary, were driving near an old abandoned TNT factory just outside Point Pleasant. They were laughing, playing music, enjoying the night drive. But suddenly, Linda screamed, "There! Do you see that?" On the side of the road, just beyond the trees, stood a tall creature. Nearly 7 feet high, it had huge wings folded behind its back and red, glowing eyes that pierced through the dark. Steve slowed the car. Everyone went silent. Then the creature opened its wings. Without a sound, it lifted into the air and followed the car. Roger slammed the gas pedal. They were going 100 miles per hour, but the Mothman kept up, flying just above the car, never blinking, just watching. Finally, as they reached the edge of town, it vanished. The group went straight to the police, their faces pale, their hands shaking. They swore they weren't lying. They all described the same thing: the red eyes, the wings, the speed. In the weeks that followed, more sightings were reported. And then something tragic happened. On December 15th, 1967, the Silver Bridge in Point Pleasant collapsed, killing 46 people. Many believed the Mothman appeared to warn them. Others thought the creature caused it. 3 years later, in a small house on the edge of Mason County, an old farmer named Henry Lawson lived alone. One foggy night, around 2:30 a.m., Henry was woken up by a strange sound that it wasn't thunder. It wasn't wind. It was something else, something like a deep hum, almost mechanical. Henry walked to his window and looked outside. There, standing in his cornfield, was a figure. It wasn't moving, it wasn't walking, it was just there. He squinted. "A man," he whispered. But then he saw the eyes, glowing, red, not blinking. He grabbed his shotgun and stepped outside, his boots crunching on the frosty ground. As he walked closer, the figure opened its wings. Henry froze. In one swift motion, the creature flew into the air, passing over Henry's head with a loud whoosh. His hat flew off. The shotgun fell from his hands. He dropped to the ground, terrified. The next morning, neighbors found Henry sitting on his porch, staring into nothing. He never spoke about that night again. He never farmed again, and just a month later, he was gone. Some say he moved to another state. Others say he died of fear, but no one knows for sure. Fast forward to 1987. 3 college students from Ohio decided to film a documentary on urban legends for a school project. They wanted to explore the truth behind the Mothman. Their names were Jill, Tony, and Marcus. They visited Point Pleasant, interviewed locals, and even went to the old TNT area. On their 3rd night, they camped inside one of the old bunkers. It was quiet, too quiet. At around 3:14 a.m., Jill's camera turned on by itself. She swore she didn't touch it. Tony laughed. Maybe it's the ghost of Mothman. But Marcus didn't laugh. He was staring at the entrance. "Guys," he whispered, "something's there." They turned slowly. A figure stood at the entrance, wings half open, eyes burning red. Jill screamed. Tony ran to grab the flashlight, but the batteries were dead. Marcus lifted the camera. The red lights on the creature began to flash, then static. The next morning, the ranger found their tent abandoned. The camera was lying outside, still recording, showing only fog. The students were found hours later, unharmed, but silent. They never finished the documentary, and none of them ever spoke about that night again. In 2001, a woman named Karen had just moved into a small house near the Ohio River. She had no idea about the Mothman legend, but every night for a week, she had the same dream. A tall man with wings stood outside her window, pointing at her. He never spoke, never moved, just stared. On the seventh night, she woke up sweating. Her clock read 2:46 a.m. She got up, walked to the window, and there it was, the same figure. Wings, eyes, watching. She backed away and called the police, but by the time they arrived, it was gone. That morning, a chemical plant 10 miles away exploded. 5 workers died. Karen believed the Mothman was warning her, telling her to leave. She moved the next day. During the lockdown, a young man named Tyler was live streaming his urban exploring adventures. He and his friend Jay were walking across an old, closed bridge in Kentucky. Jay spotted something in the distance. "Dude, is that a bird?" But this bird didn't flap its wings. It hovered perfectly still. Tyler zoomed in on the camera. Red eyes. The stream glitched, then went black. Viewers flooded the chat. "What happened? Where are you guys?" An hour later, they returned to the live. Pale, silent. Tyler whispered, "We saw it. It was real." Then he ended the stream. That was his last video ever uploaded. The Mothman urban legend? Spirit? Curse? Or a watcher warning us before disaster strikes? No one knows what it really is. But one thing is clear. The people who've seen it never forget it. And sometimes silence is the loudest warning of all. So, the next time you find yourself alone and the night feels too quiet, look to the sky. Because maybe, just maybe, the Mothman is watching you too.